Hi, I'm Erin Brown with Homeschool Connections, and we're here today with Eleanor Nicholson. Eleanor, great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Erin.
Absolutely. And we're here to hear about your courses with Homeschool Connections. Tell us about those.
Yes, I teach high school literature. I've been teaching for 4 years and counting. And my classes are primarily focused in the 19th century. So I teach Dickens, I teach Austen, I teach the Brontes, I teach the rise of detection fiction, Gothic literature.
All the big names, all the fun courses.
Great fun. I flatter myself I could teach up through about 1930, mostly British. After that, I could teach murder mysteries.
It's all fun, all great literature, whether it's a murder mystery or the Brontë sisters or whoever, right?
Exactly.
So these are fun courses for high schoolers, but they're also great deep literature courses. And I'm assuming you do some literature analysis and studying the characters and the structure. And am I right? Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. One of the reasons I love to teach high school literature is I feel like it's a very, there's a lot of potential in that age group, because they can make the leap from a book report understanding, telling what a book's about, to really getting deep into what a book conveys and being able to know the literary context, the historical context, the philosophical context. So I do a lot of building of that context into my courses. And I mean, from the very big issues, explaining what's going on in the period, but also being able to explain something like in a Jane Austen course, identifying the little sentence that is your cue that there was a duel off screen that you didn't read about. So some students pick that up, a lot of them don't. So giving them those tools so that they have all the information that they need to go deeper and deeper into this really exciting and, as you said, very fun literature.
And literature is a key for the transcript for a high school student, right? This is something that colleges love to see on the transcript, and it's required by a lot of states, right?
Absolutely. And thank heaven that it still is. There is not as much of an expectation for students to be well read in the great books anymore. But when they show up in college and they have read the great books, it is just such an asset. I was personally astonished when I got to the college level to realize how many people hadn't read all of these works, and to realize what a leg up I had in having experienced them all through my high school education as a homeschooler.
And it's cultural literacy as well. It's not just learning literature because it's just a book I need to know. It's literacy in story and references in our culture today.
Absolutely. And learning more sophisticated appreciation, not just of narrative, but of who we are as human beings. So, I mean, you read Jane Austen, who is rightly considered one of the last great moral theologians. You read her work and you have a deep understanding of humanity, and it matures you. So it can be very expanding to be a reader of great literature. It's exciting to watch high schoulers having all these little epiphanic moments reading the great. Exactly. I remember that. I remember the light bulbs, and I love the memories of those light bulbs. So I like watching them at night.
Neat. Very fun. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite class?
Oh, that's really hard.
Favorites?
Well, I teach all of my favorites. That's part of the problem. So I do have.
It's a good problem to have. They're all good, right?
It's true. So I teach Austen and Dickens and Trollope and the Gothic. I mean, this is what I love. This is what I love. So I feel a little bit as if these classes let me play around and indulge my love. Our children are not quite at this age yet. So I'm able to share other literature with them, but looking forward to being able to engage with them in a couple of years. So it's my husband and I both agree. Teaching for Homeschool Connections is more fun than any work we've ever done, actually.
There you go. And we'll talk about your family in a minute. I want to know a little bit about you and your background and what's unique and special that you bring to the table as a teacher of literature.
Well, I am a graduated high school homeschooler. My mother took us out. I was in third grade. So third grade into college. And there I got my undergraduate and graduate degrees in English. In my graduate degrees, I specialized in anti-Catholicism of the British Victorian period. That's actually an extremely rich topic and really equips you for teaching the Victorians. But in engaging at a university level, I came away with a very clear idea of how I felt literature ought to be taught.
Mm.
Partly based on the very excellent teachers I had at the University of Virginia, but also based on what I saw as very, very, very serious pedagogical errors that are part of the system now. So when I work with the students, I want to equip them, if they go on to college, I want to equip them for that college level analysis,
Yes.
but also equip their minds so that they're able to engage and see through the negative messages that are very prevalent at the university level today.
Yeah. So is it correct in saying that these courses aren't just passionate, wonderful courses about literature and getting a basis in cultural literacy, literature literacy, but also critical thinking and the ability to take that forward as a person, as an adult and a young adult in college and beyond?
Definitely, definitely. So I want engaged, passionate readers, whether this is the first time a reader has read Jane Austen, for instance. But I also want mature, insightful readers, and I want to guide their understanding so that, for example, my students know that I loathe film adaptations of the classics. I love to hate them. So I will tear them to shreds. But when we talk through in a Jane Austen course, if you're reading Pride and Prejudice and you're looking at the different adaptations, if they want to love those adaptations, totally understandable. But we are going to identify the moral and philosophical errors that have made their way into a film and take them apart and really see what the text is telling us and what the author is expressing and where the author comes from. I think this too, recognizing the different understanding of the author can be so maturing at that age as well, because then you're not just caught up in the echo chamber of your own head. You're realizing the wisdom of other people and of tradition. So as I tell them all the time, my classes are also an affirmation of tradition and of one's parents and of the wisdom that they can hand on to us.
That's a good message.
A very good message.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to say that I've heard across the grapevine or through the grapevine that you are a really fun instructor, teacher in class.
Oh,
Tell me about that.
Oh, we have so much fun. The students are clever, they're funny, and I encourage them to discuss, to address, even to be a little bit goofy. So we'll do everything from walk through the plot chapter by chapter and make comments and express how we feel, which is strongly expressed. I use hyperbole a lot, so I encourage it. But also we joke about it. And then the students, I don't know, there was a class where I said something about, this character, I want to kick him in the shins. For the rest of that class, they were saying things like, Mrs. Nicholson, do you want to kick him in the shins? Do you want to kick him in the shins? And I said, I actually have never kicked anyone in the shins or anywhere, I think. So I tried to think back to my childhood. And then they'll come back and they'll refer to it from a previous class. And then I have to explain to all the other students
what that was all about.
So on the other hand, I can give them screens and let them read aloud passages. And then we look at it and say, all right, here's a paragraph. We've just heard it. What's sticking out? And then you start tearing it to pieces and saying, well, how does this work stylistically, thematically? So they're engaging in deep, close reading, but they're also being goofy and talking about kicking characters in the shins.
And that's what I've heard about your courses. Very engaging, very passionate, fun, lots of wordplay, lots of just really being engaged together. So if you're watching this today and you have a teen that you think would enjoy or get excited about the classics in this kind of course, please do look it up. You can find information at the website at homeschoolconnections.com. In the catalogs, there's a week by week. Just look up Eleanor Nicholson and you'll find not only information about her, but every single course, week by week, what's in those classes. And I do want to ask you about just your home and a little bit of a window into who you are personally that you can share with people watching today.
Well, I am the only daughter of 6 children, and we were all homeschooled. As I said, I was pulled out in 3rd grade, and many, many, many grandchildren now. So I have all these sisters-in-law, which is a huge blessing. But I married a philosopher, which was a very interesting. Just a little side note, he made me read a book before he would ask me out. I called it the entrance exam to be taking coffee. Now we have 4 children. We homeschool them. You can probably hear them upstairs wrestling. So no, I love literature, my children, and not folding my laundry. That is my life. That is my life. Is not folding my laundry. And so because there's so much to read.
Oh, there's so much to read. That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, you're just a delightful person. And I think that people watching today can see that the literature courses with you are just a delight and rich in information, rich in depth, rich in understanding, and rich in a foundation for college and beyond. So if you're watching this and you want more information, again, Homeschool Connections at gmail.com, and is a place where you can go and ask questions about courses. Do you have an email that you'd like to share with others as well to directly get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Parents are welcome to reach out to me. It's eborg, B-O-U-R-G, Nicholson, because E.B. Nicholson was taken, at gmail.com. And please do reach out. I also encourage any parents who have children who are timid about reading, even if they have reading disabilities, they can come through audiobooks. We will help them. We will work with them. They should not be afraid of reading because, for example, they're afraid of writing. I do offer optional writing opportunities. I am myself a writer, and I am very passionate about the importance of writing, and that being a great reader means you will be a better writer. So I do give that optionally, but I want the courses to be open to students who are not ready to do a literary critical paper. So balancing that out by keeping it optional.
And I have to say, we didn't mention this. You're a published author.
I am.
Books. Tell us about that real quick.
Well, I am a published editor as well. So I've done a lot of the scholarly work. I edited a number of the Ignatius critical editions of the classics, including their edition of Dracula. And my first novel, my second actually, my first published novel is very hard to find. It's a little novella called The Letters of Magdalen Montague. But my second was A Bloody Habit, which was published by Ignatius Press in 2018. A follow-on novel, Brother Wolf, by Chrism Press in 2021. And the latter two are outrageous Gothic romances with Dominican vampire slayers. It's totally over the top. It's totally fun, but with some really rich themes that I think are important in that genre. So that's awesome. The crazier side of what I do.
That's fun. And you can find those at Amazon and selling areas. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for being with us today, Eleanor. It's great to just chat with you here, see your passion as you're talking about your courses. And again, if you're watching right now and want more information about these courses, simply go to homeschoolconnections.com. Check out the catalogs there for both the live and recorded courses, and you'll find Eleanor Nicholson's literature courses there. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you, Erin.